Alright, it's been over a month and time for another update on the garden. As you can see, quite a lot has changed. I'm going to kind of walk through the same thing. I've got more bell pepper plants in gallon jugs that I will hang on the fence eventually. Right now I'm working on getting the drip line system set up. I haven't needed to use it yet, so I've been kind of taking my time on that part of the project because we've had plenty of rain. This blueberry is still doing well, and I've got some more bell pepper plants hardening off in there. And let's see if I can remember how I did this last time. So I've put a pot of oregano out here, which is doing very well. Back behind the fence you can see some strawberries. That tomato plant is getting huge. I'll take a shot from the other side of that. The Egyptian walking onions are getting big, and I've eaten a few of them, and I'll be repotting that pot with something with beans probably once these onions are done. I don't know if I'll get any berries out of this raspberry this year. I've got cucumbers, 3 cucumber plants in this barrel. Underneath these, so some volunteer wild chrysanthemums. We got a little raspberry and some peppermint plants in a pot. This is the little tray like that one, full of black turtle beans, and I'm going to have a bunch of beans in that. And this raspberry plant is covered with berries. I think I've got one that's just about ready to pick. Yeah, that'll be ready tomorrow. Let it get a little riper. Oh, let me go back over here. I've got all kinds of blossoms on some of these bell pepper plants. They're very happy in this location. Yeah, this one's got blossoms forming. That one's got blossoms forming, so won't be too much longer and I'll start having bell peppers. The apple trees that are behind here that were covered with blossoms are now covered with apples, which is kind of exciting. This is the first year I've gotten apples out of them. The wild chrysanthemums are taking over. My red leaf lettuce, I'm eating it as fast as it's growing, so it doesn't look very good, but it has actually produced quite a bit of lettuce. I just keep eating it. The big raspberry plant is covered with berries that are starting to get ripe. I've picked maybe a handful in the past couple of days. That one's almost ripe. So they're starting to get ripe. And as you can see, there are a lot of berries on this plant. It's really happy in this container. And the blueberry plant, it's kind of draped over. The canes are kind of draped over the blueberries. I've actually got raspberries mixed in with my blueberries. And the tomato plant's starting to take shape, this one. And I've got a little raspberry plant here. And another blueberry that's got a few blueberries on it, which is pretty spectacular for as young a plant as it is. My strawberry plant in this pot, as you can see, I've eaten probably a dozen berries off of here already, and it is continuing to produce a lot of nice berries. They're very sweet. These are Seascape strawberries. They're an ever-bearing. Oh, that looks good. They're an ever-bearing type, and so here's the other blueberry. And I've got Corsican mint growing here and in a lot of places. I like to let it grow in the pots because it helps keep the soil moist, and it's a good indicator of the plant starting to dry out. If you see the Corsican mint drying out, you know that the pot is in serious need of water. So it's a good indicator. Got a few Egyptian onions and some other plants here. And then here we are back around. Here's the apple tree, one of the apple trees. And here's a shot of the tomato plant that was barely visible in the last, it was just a little tiny plant in the last update. And now it's almost halfway up the trellis, which is a section of stock fence. And the apple trees, all of the apple trees back here have fruit on them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 apple trees here. So yeah, there you go. There's that portion of the garden. The rear garden, not a lot changed in the herb barrel here, except that I've moved it. Being on casters, I've got the barrel on casters, so I can move it fairly easily. And it gets a little more sunlight here and more rain, and the sage is blooming, and I assume it's going to put out seed pods. We'll see. The raspberries, the raised bed raspberries, are covered with fruit. And this will be ripening soon, I'm sure. Like I said, this doesn't get as much sunlight, direct sunlight, as the ones out front do, so it's running a little bit later than those are, but I am going to have an abundance of fruit here. The blackberries, I don't know if I can pan up there without whiting out the camera from the background, but there's a lot of blossoms forming on the ends of the top branches there, and they'll dangle down, and I'll have quite a bit of fruit. Oh, there's a runner that I'm going to have to take care of, taking off. And there's the rest of the raspberries. Oh, is that one ripe? Yeah, I got some in here that are getting ripe. So I'll have some back here soon too. This apple tree back here, it's got some fruit on it, but not very many, just maybe 4 or 5 on the whole tree. It's in a big container, so I would have expected it to do better, but I think it's a shadier location back here. It doesn't get as much sun, so I think that has a lot to do with it. So that's the back part of the garden. Alright, and there's my little growing strawberries on your wall. I've got a few berries on there, not a lot because I'm using shade cloth over the porch, so it doesn't get much light. But that's one of the cool things about the Seascape berries, why I chose them. They're ever-bearing, and what they do is, depending on the level of light, you get about the same amount of fruit. If you have a lot of light, you get a few big fruit. If you don't have much light, you get a lot of smaller fruit. So I'm getting quite a few smaller fruit here. And I've got a couple of other plants. I've got I've got another strawberry here, and some peppermint on my porch. I think that's all the food plants. There might be another strawberry in a hanging basket up in the front. Let's go over here. Yep, I've got one more set of strawberries. Let's see if I can't see very well to tell if you can see that well, but there's another strawberry plant in the hanging basket. So that's all my my food garden. The rest of it's decorative.